Good evening. I'm going to call to order the City Commission meeting for Thursday, May 29th, 2025. We will have roll call by Melissa.
Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Here.
Mayor Maples.
Here.
And Commissioner Hendricks is absent.
We will now have our invocation by Pastor Kyle Williams of Emmanuel Southern Baptist Church. Will everyone please stand?
Would you bow with me, please? Gracious Father, Lord, we just thank you today for your great and many blessings on the city of Coffeyville. Just pray, Father, for your continued blessings on our city, our friends and neighbors, and our leadership as they work together with the people of Coffeyville for the peace and prosperity of our community. Ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. We will now have a review of the agenda, our consent agenda, the City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. The City Commission special meeting minutes for Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. And the 2025 appropriation ordinance number AO-25-10 in the amount of $5,552,544.44. And Vice Mayor Van Oster, do you have some highlights from the
Yes.
appropriation ordinance?
Yes, I do, Mayor. We have Adams Cable Equipment Company, $4,562. This is for 25,000 feet of fiber cable and hardware. We have Augustin Aguilar. This is for, he's a contractor, and 2 people participated in our emergency home repair program that we had. And he did those. The amount is $1,514.80. We have Algar Martin and Associates. This is for payment number 9 for the Brown Street sewer project, and payment number 17 for the wastewater treatment plant lagoon liner that we're working on, $4,186.50. BG Consultants, $34,949.12. This has to do with 3 deals for professional services for the CDBG grant on the Trails to Rails project, pay estimate number 15. We have this city street maintenance project for 2025 and the fairground proposal 2. We have Chubb Insurance, that is for power plant insurance, $160,436. We have Cross Discipline Engineering. This is payment number 31 for the substation upgrade, $5,056.25. Cut It Out Tree Trimming, and this is for, once again, a home repair service they did for someone, $1,200. Dalton Loomis, $3,000. That's for another emergency home repair to do with trees, $3,000. Daniel and Sons. This is for a facade downtown on West 9th, 127 West 9th. It is part of the downtown improvements that we gave away and had out a couple weeks ago on our Facebook page, $6,499.38. We had Earth Planters LLC. This is for planters, about 20 of them. This is for our downtown improvement project, $12,974. Grand River Dam Authority, $2,848,095.37. That's our monthly bill there. Huber and Associates, this has to do with the firewall devices for the police department, $12,960. We have Kansas Correctional Industries. This has to do with more supplies for the downtown improvement project that we're doing, $4,950. KMGA Gas Supply Operating Fund. This is estimated from March 25th to April 25th, $178,470. Cone Construction Services, this is the multi-use trail construction project that's going on. Pay estimate number 3, $210,422.71. We have Leslie Swimming Pool Supplies. This was for a 3-horsepower pool pump for the Aquatic Center, $2,133. We have Meridian Health. This is for health insurance and life insurance premiums, $44,157. Sherwin-Williams Paint Store. This was for the Paint the Town program that we had, $3,894.20. TLC Groundskeeping. This is for half of the beautification project downtown that we put out for bids, $8,488. We have Worldwide Diesel Power Incorporated. This is for the maintenance on the new gin plant, 10K and 24K that we're working on. Pay estimate 18, 19, 20, and 21, $108,244. Southwest Power Pool. This has to do with the transmission in conjunction with GRDA, $786,673.69. We have Solutions North Bank, $7,910.59. If you will remember, we voted on several meetings ago. We had to buy a section of land by the water plant that we could get access on and run a line up. That was $7,910. Then we had our payroll of $403,403.40. And that's just a highlight of our $5 million appropriation ordinance that we have tonight.
Any questions?
No questions?
Okay, if not, I will move to approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Okay. The 2025 appropriation ordinance number AO-25-10A for $114.33. Is that for Isham's?
Mm-hmm.
That's for Isham's Hardware.
I move to approve. Second?
Motion is made by Commissioner Faulkner, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve item 4 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Abstain.
Okay, we will move on to comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Do we have any comments from the public? Okay. We will now move on to our regular agenda items. A presentation on the proposed Coffeyville Fairgrounds project. City Manager Ben Brubaker will give a presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You have attachments for that presentation there that have passed out earlier. I know there's a few folks here that may want some. Those are putting out as well. This is a project that I've been talking to commissioners one-on-one and mentioning in meetings for just about a year now. And I'm excited to bring it before you as an option for commissioners to consider. When about the first month I got here, the interim city manager, Tim Wilson, had said, hey, the Fairgrounds Association wants you to come out and talk, and I'm holding and waiting for you to go out and talk with them because in your resume you've done this before. And I had built an equestrian center at the International Agri Center out in California. So it was one of the first meetings I had. I got to go out and meet our members of our fair board and talk about the condition of our livestock barns, learn more about Coffeyville Interstate Fair and Rodeo and the history out there, the condition, and over the year I've come to understand the ownership and responsibilities for those buildings. And part of their commit was, hey, can we do something different out here? Very quickly after that, talking to commissioners, commissioners brought forward to decrease the mill levy here in town. And one of the charges for staff was, can we either lower costs or find other ways to bring revenue? And so sort of a fourfold reason here to bring to you. Why upgrade the livestock barns? So these are decades-old barns with significant safety issues. And I haven't completely confirmed their age, but somewhere between about 55 and 85. I have someone who's 55 that said they've been there since I've been alive. I have someone who's 85 that said I was a 5-year-old in those barns. So somewhere in there, I'm sure someone else in town could pin the tail on that donkey. Opportunity to increase sales tax, I mentioned. And this is sales tax revenue from non-Coffeyville residents. As you know, we make about $6 million in sales tax revenue in the city, and a third of that comes from non-residents of Coffeyville from outside. So they come here, they spend their money, and that sales tax stays here. We have a history of agriculture and community engagement out there at the fairgrounds that we'll talk about, and this is an opportunity to enhance what Coffeyville is already really successful at. So that first item, the public safety, and you'll see in the engineer's report, they have a lot of pictures as well. Our electric department has told me on several occasions, hey, we have a live line that goes over those buildings. That's really not to code. We shouldn't have it there. You can go out and look at those barns, and a couple of them are kind of leaning to the right and to the left. We have roofing failures, rafters, joist beams. The fairground, the Fair Association, the Fair Board, puts a lot of work into those barns every year, and I've gone through and verified that with their treasurer numbers and ours. It's amazing actually how much money they put in, and they actually look pretty good as you drive by because they paint them, if not every year, every other year, and they're out there tacking up boards and trying to keep things from not falling on a bunch of kids and attendants and animals. So there is a significant public safety concern. That next item, sales tax revenue. So I gave here, this is a software we had called Placid, and it came through GRDA that we have access to, and it gives demographic information, goes back into 2018. If you think about your phone, when you download an app on your phone, oftentimes your phone will say, are you okay if the app tracks you, or do you want to ask the app not to track you? And for those who ignore it or say yes, this is the data they pull. And so went into that system from May 1st, 2018 to May 15th, 2025. There was 109,000 visitors of at least 10 minutes to our fairgrounds. And you can see that little map of the area that we include. It's of that 10 minutes is important because we have a major highway that runs through there, so it's skipping so you don't hit that traffic. Of those 809,000 visitors in that about 7-year window, the average time spent at the fairgrounds was 166 minutes. Then you can see the heat map. That heat map is where are people coming from in the area and in the region for attending something at the fairgrounds. You can blow that map up even a little bit further, and there's a few other little dots outside of that area. But as you can see, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, even into Texas, we're having people travel here to attend something at our fairgrounds. The next heat images there, scale here, this is what I'm looking at. This is indicating where folks were before they came to the fairgrounds and where they went after. So 40.7% were at home prior to coming to the fairgrounds, 39.2% went home. But you'll go down that list: gas stations and convenience stores, fast food, QSR, and that's QSR is quick service.
Quick serve restaurants.
Yes, quick serve
Fast food.
restaurants. Hotels, casino, restaurants. So all before and then again after those numbers. That next ranking there is top places in this time period that people traveled to. Walmart was number 1, McDonald's number 2, Brahms Ice Cream number 3, Casey's General Store number 4, and El Pueblito's Mexican Restaurant number 5. And there's multiple lists, and it's interesting as you go in and play with the data. You can look at 1 year at a time, and we can do this throughout town. We've done a few of these things for some of the businesses in town to give them insight as well. But that number 1 Walmart is, about 34,000 people. Moving on to history. I think you all know that history better than I, but in the months that I've been researching, it's been a lot of fun to learn about the history in Coffeyville and out at these fairgrounds known as Forest Park before. A lot of baseball, a lot of racing out there. Found a lot of old postcards that are for sale from the early 1910, 1912s, talking about Forest Park. Racing, boy, the amount of racing that happened out there. I have a long list. Someone's put together a list of all the different races that happened out there. Interesting things to note, the air base, military, when they came in, went so fast they didn't have housing. And so they were, according to what I read, they were housing there at the, on here, covered seating. We don't have that covered there, so it's not the same. But they were housing soldiers there. Found a coin, which was, I thought, pretty cool. Let's see if I can even read it after I print it now here. Interstate Fair and Rodeo, redeemable before September 10th, 1958, Coffeyville, Kansas. Recognizing the I'm sure some bicentennial or whatever it may be. So just a lot of things. A board game that someone made in 1993. Looks like Monopoly almost. A lot of fun things there. You talk about what's happening out there today with the Interstate Fair and Rodeo and the quantity of counties that we invite people in to participate here. And so pictures from that site, near and dear to my heart. My children show animals, and I've grown up showing animals through 4-H and FFA as well. That next page, also some notable folks. Justin McKee, who was known, and I'm not sure when it stopped. Folks here in the audience would know better than I, but he was known as the voice of PBR and has grown up coming to the Interstate Fair and Rodeo for a number of years and continues to come. And then Jake Long, winning the 2024 National Finals Rodeo, a Coffeyville native there. That last page, existing competitions and shows that are here that some of you may have attended: Interstate Fair and Rodeo, the Messner Memorial Swine Show, Kansas High School Rodeo Association. They came out here in April, told you about that. The numbers that we had were 850 families a day over that three-day event. Legends Classic Livestock Show, the Ranch Rodeo, amongst many other things that go out there for a variety of reasons to Walter Johnson Park and the fairgrounds. And then there's the opportunity. So I put some pictures on here that are actually of the facility that I worked on in California, just to give you some examples. If we're talking really a metal building with dirt. Now this picture on the bottom right there is a cement floor. We brought the dirt into a cement floor. Because of costs and trying to be careful with that, we're not putting a cement floor with this project. It would just be straight dirt. But you can see there livestock pens set up. You can see cattle in there. You can see tractor out preparing the ground for probably a reining event or barrel racing, whatever it may be. Lots of opportunities to go out and attract other shows. Just a small list. Of course, the Coffeyville Community College rodeo team that's here in town, and there's no competition that can be held here in town. Montgomery County Livestock Shows, we have several. State Regional Livestock Shows, Dog Agility, Kansas Ranch Ropers Associations, Kansas Professional Rodeo Association, and on down the list. A lot of opportunities. This means, if we were to do this, that we need to actually go and manage this, like it is in a center that has events. And so part of that proposal is to have a staff member there that's going out and engaging and creating relationships with these producers of events, and making sure that we have the amenities and the availability to bring them in. This is a livestock and equestrian center is what you can think of it, that whole agriculture gamut. Just a summary of what's already in your packet from the engineers, but their estimation of construction to just upgrade those 5 barns that are already out there is about $1 million. Of course, they didn't spend a lot of time analyzing that, but that is a projection of their cost. To build new, and this is building and other things that we need, is about $4.4 million. $3.6 million of that would be that 200 by 300 indoor livestock and equestrian facility. The engineers, you'll see, did put optional add-ons that all included would be up to $1 million. There's some fire suppression system, there's insulation, a lot of different codes that you have that have to require some of that, so there's back and forth on what is needed and what's not. So those are in there as add-ons that a contractor developer could bid on. 500 to 800,000. It continues there. There'd be need for livestock pens. The pens that are out there have been there a long time and are not real movable. So do we go and support the Fair Association in purchasing those pens? Needing an arena. If you do barrel racing or reining, you need those arenas set up. Having stalls for horses. Dirt. I know that sounds silly. When I did dirt in Tulare, California, we called in an expert out of Texas, and he came out and he spent 3 or 4 days until he found the right dirt. He bottled it up, he sends it to Texas, they test it, and that's especially when you're doing equestrian type events, and each of them have a varying degree of, not to anyone that's in the equestrian world listening, but very picky on their dirt. And that's important. These folks are showing up with multi-million dollars worth of animals and equipment on the equestrian side, hundreds of thousands on both sides of both livestock and equestrian. So that's that total cost in there. Now, other funding. We're here tonight specifically asking that you approve the application of a $1.5 million CDBG grant. We have confirmation from the state that this project fits within that scope. And so if we did not get that grant, we'd have to come back and have a conversation on what do we do, because this is assuming that we would get the grant and move forward. Also, NAFI down here in South Coffeyville reached out, and we've applied for a $150,000 grant through them. Other funding sources that could be used if we talk about maintenance and having a greater presence out there. We do have existing sales tax dollars out there that we do have for economic development, we do have for parks, and so those monies could be assigned and moved per budget conversations and commission's approval. The Montgomery County Fair Association, they're going to continue to invest out there. If we did this and couldn't have livestock pens, they'd have to figure out how do we move those and how do we fund that. When you're showing pigs on dirt's not great. If you know pigs, they start digging. So do we put cement in there? So there's options that they're considering as well, and whether funding through them or through organizations in town, we believe that funding is available. Building naming rights. That's something we did in California. We went out and I had a 5-year contract, $80,000 a year to name that building after a business. Now I don't think we're going to get that in here. That was a very populated area and major 150,000 people coming to those shows. But you can go in and find some of that money as well. And then there's a conversation to be had on the transient guest tax in the county. This would not be something Coffeyville could go do. It would be a combination of Independence, Coffeyville, and county commissioners to increase that tax. I've already been approached asking if that's something Coffeyville would be interested in. That does go specifically to tourism dollars, and so there'd be questions on the application of that. The existing transient tax does go to the chambers of commerce or the betterment groups. And what I've been approached on is, if we increase that, can we give that increase to the cities to take care of their facilities that have tourism dollars needed for upkeep? So there are other funding sources. The engineers suggest that fairgrounds maintenance will cost about $100,000. I'm saying $60,000 to $100,000, depending on what we do out there. And then fairgrounds management, if you hire a part-time, and I don't know that you would need to go full-time immediately until you could see what it could do, but we need someone to go and get these shows to come and tell them to come here, and what's the benefit, and be on site to support versus just kind of what we've done for a long time is just turn it over and let folks run their shows.
So you're talking about somebody that would market the facility.
Yeah, that you would, you'd go down to a National Barrel Racing Association event and maybe meet the Kansas folks and say, hey, we're a venue, you should come down, invite them down and show them around and talk about the facilities, start building out, whatever a rental package would look like for a group like that. So that total cost there, $4.4 million. Possible funding today, $1.65 million. So the cost for the city, $2.75 million. The building is not that extra part. You'll see in there that the engineer's probable cost is lower. That's the $2 million. But these other needs that we'd have out there is what we're talking about. Where does the money come from? I've had a few people say, whoa, the timing here, what's going on? You're increasing electric rates, and why are you doing that and spending money over here? In my podcast that I recently put out, I tried to explain that, and that should be explained today. And I believe that all of you are aware of this. We'll say it for the public, but we have money that's set aside, and we have legal obligations on how you use that money. The electric funds are enterprise funds, and they pay for themselves within the revenue they make. What we're talking about is economic development money. Some of that's been derived from sales tax. Some has been set aside and specifically by commissioners in the past designated for. And then also, lost the word, capital improvement. We have a capital improvement fund. So between those two funds, and those things are designated for economic development and capital improvement, the city could put in that need of that just over $2 million, $2.75 approximately $1 million for this project. The final thing I have on this presentation for you, also found in the engineer packet, is probable dates. And this is tight, and I'm hopeful that this works. And if we continue to get approved and get funded, we do have time. This could be pushed back another year. But you'll see on here, public hearing is today. Submitting the final application for that grant would be tomorrow. We would expect to hear back in the timeline allotted by June 28th on if we got that grant. If awarded, we would move in with our notice to proceed on the design services, which there's a contract as part of that public hearing today you'd have to sign with BG. And then you can see as we go through their estimated timeline. Part of that design phase would be getting the fair board in here and sitting down and making sure the placement of that building works. How does it work with our current existing shows? That is the predominant need here, is for our Interstate Fair and Rodeo, those livestock barns, and be able to continue the legacy that has been here because of that. The secondary to that is we have a safety concern, the conditions of the building, and third is this an opportunity to find more sales tax? And I wish I could tell you we will get more sales tax and we will go get these shows. That is the risk here. Will none of them want to come? Now, most of those on that list I have spoke to, got nothing but positive feedback on bringing shows like that, and having a facility like that that is covered, that year-round these kind of shows can come to. But if we can duplicate, let's just say, the quantity of folks we have at the Interstate Fair and Rodeo, or the Kansas High School Rodeo Association, if we can duplicate even those two events numbers throughout the year, that will be a boon to those sales tax. And so I guess the last thing I would say to that is just the synergy of things happening in town. The city is working on road projects and water projects, and this is a project, and we're in our parks, and we're seeing the business community. This evening, just before coming here, I was at the Chamber's investor meeting, and businesses are talking and seeing that. There's I guess he's a businessman that has come into town and has bought some of our buildings, and he's putting restaurants in them. We just got Joe's Italian restaurant. This person has 2 other buildings they're trying to attract, and he was a little bit perplexed, I was told, at why are these buildings sitting here and no one else has done this? Is there something I don't know about? And the Chamber sent him a long list of, again, the things that are happening in our community and the synergy, and we think this would be another one to give back to the community at large who has been here, has seen this. This isn't a new idea per se. This is a continuing a legacy that has existed for over 100 years here in Coffeyville and keeping it going. With that, that's the end of the presentation, Madam Mayor.
All right, I will open a public hearing to receive comments regarding an application to be submitted to the Kansas Department of Commerce for Community Development Block Grant Funds under the Community Facilities Large Grants category. Any comments? State your name and address, please.
Okay, I'm Shanna Modal. I live in rural Coffeyville, 3530 County Road 1250. So good evening, commissioners. Good evening, everyone else and everyone on the camera. I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of this amazing opportunity we've been given for not only the Montgomery County Fair Association, but the community, more than just the agriculture community, everyone here that gets to use Coffeyville. Didn't fully prepare anything that I was going to speak to, but this is something I could speak passionately about all day long. The main things that I wanted to highlight is, Coffeyville truly is a hub for agriculture. Whether you're a part of it, not a part of it, anywhere you go, agriculture is right there at your doorstep. And I believe that that is the biggest supporter for our area. To that, when, I've heard different comments of people when we talk about an equine or a livestock facility, this is so much more than that. Growing up here, I've been in these barns since I was born. Ben talked about how our association has kept the building up. I mean, I was one of those kids out there painting every summer so I could show my pigs there. Just myself growing up here in Montgomery County, we have now invited 8 different counties that come just for our fair and rodeo time of the year. Plus with the other shows that we're already hosting, that's kids from all over Kansas, all over Oklahoma, Arkansas, as you saw on the maps. He did call out the Kansas High School Rodeo Association, so we've been hosting one of their events for I don't know how many years now, but this last year we were able to get some really good numbers on that. And almost each day of that weekend in April, there was close to 1,000 people that I would say are primarily extra. I mean, we do have a few locals that were here for that, but the economic boom that that's able to bring to the area and just the name of Coffeyville. I myself, like I said, I was born and raised here. I was gone for a few years for college and to start my career, and now I still travel for work, and it's amazing how many people have heard the name Coffeyville. Whether it was, rodeo, college, football, the Golden Tornadoes, the Bricks, the Dalton Gang, we're such rich history here. And, we've continually kept the fairgrounds. Walter Johnson, I think of looking at it as a huge opportunity where it's the parks, it's the, home. I mean, now even out at Walter Johnson, they have the Hispanic Heritage Celebration out there, this Coffeyville Summer Celebration. There's so many opportunities that one building can be way bigger than just the Montgomery County Fair Association Interstate Fair and Rodeo. Of course, we want to continue growing that. We want to give a safe, clean, welcoming environment. Now I'll tell you, our barns are so cool. I mean, what we have right now, nobody really has anything that looks like that anymore, but as you've seen the pictures, it's literally falling in. There's some places where you can't, it's not even touching the ground anymore. But I think that we have got the best use out of that piece of property that we can. And having this opportunity to grow and be creative with what we can bring in, what else we can market to Coffeyville, is tremendous. And I think Ben did an amazing job covering all of it. I think there were probably some other points I was going to make tonight, but I really just hope that everyone can see the amazing opportunity this is for Coffeyville and our region as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Johnny Wild, head rodeo coach at Coffeyville Community College. And I thought Mr. Brubaker did an excellent job putting on that presentation and was very thorough. If I was to keep it simple, I will say, if you build it, they will come. But it would be a huge boost to my rodeo program and my rodeo numbers, recruiting and everything. I'm competing against other schools, colleges and university in this state that have indoor arenas. And even if we have that there and the college is able to use it for the rodeo program, it's not something that we would need to use on a daily basis or even a weekly basis. But, times when it's wet like it has been there in April and February would certainly be beneficial. And the kids would know, if they're coming from, a lot of kids will come to southern Kansas and Oklahoma schools from Minnesota and Iowa and the Dakotas. What do they want to get away from? They want to get away from bad weather or have opportunities to practice on a fairly daily basis. And so that certainly would do that. And I look at Facebook and I see kids, local kids, and where do they go to compete and get in some jackpot runs and that sort of thing. And it's all of them's usually down in Oklahoma, Pawhuska, Tulsa, Inola. There's really nowhere in Kansas that we can go when the weather's bad. And so certainly that will give us a chance. And there are Kansas kids, so they're traveling from north of here and going down south into Oklahoma and skipping by us. And so if, as the coach here, I would like to put on probably 8 to 10 events, work up to 8 to 10 events a semester. Just weeknight jackpots, different events, maybe barrel race one week and a roping the next and that sort of thing, and kind of alternate through that and get some exposure for the facility and for the program and bring in people and help out with that sales tax and revenue for that purpose. But I think that's about all I have. Any questions for me?
How many scholarship students do you currently have, or did you have this last year?
Typically, I'll have around 15 to 20 a year, and about half of those will compete, and that could easily double, if not go more than that.
Yeah.
So it'd be really big boost for the college. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
No questions. I move to approve. Oh, you have to
I've
close.
got-
You
I'm
have to
gonna- yep,
close.
Yep, I'm going to
Sorry,
close.
you have to
No, you're
close.
fine.
You have to
I will
close
now
public.
close the public hearing. Now we have Resolution R-25-54, a resolution certifying legal authority to apply for the 2025 Kansas Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program from the Kansas Department of Commerce and authorizing the mayor to sign and submit the application.
Now,
Now.
I recommend approval of Resolution R-25-54 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Faulkner, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-25-54 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Okay, now, Resolution R-25-55, a resolution assuring the Kansas Department of Commerce that funds will be continually provided for the operation and maintenance of improvements to the Coffeyville Fairgrounds Arena to be financed with the Community Development Block Grant Funds.
Move to approve Resolution R-2555 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Mayor Maples to approve Resolution R-25-55 as presented. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to old business, we will now have the second reading of ordinance G-25-01, an ordinance amending certain electric rate schedules pursuant to section 42-6 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coffeyville, Kansas.
Incidentally, you folks are welcome to stay for the duration of the meeting, but we also understand that you have obligations outside of here, so if any of you would like to take this opportunity to step out, you're more than welcome to. We're not going to be offended. Yep. Have a good night. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Who says I don't know how to clear out a room?
And a fine job you did.
You did a good job
We're all good at something.
clearing a room.
See, less pressure on you now.
Good evening again.
You have
Good
the floor.
So this is the second reading of the ordinance. We've been over this at length, multiple different meetings, and so would just like to be here to answer any questions you may have in front of you this evening. As we discussed at the last meeting and you had the first reading of, was an ordinance to establish a 2% rate increase effective July 1st, and then to have the remaining 5%, basically 7% broken down into two tiers. So the first in July and the second in January. That 5% taking effect January 1st, and then in subsequent years you'll have approximately 4.5% rate increases January 1st of each of those subsequent years, 27 and 28.
Well, if there are no questions, I will move to approve the second reading of ordinance G-25-01 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve the second reading of ordinance G-25-01 as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
No.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. We have Resolution R-25-56, a resolution to approve a construction contract with J. Graham Construction for the CRMC Street Improvement Project. Executive Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments. Good evening.
Good evening. As part of the city's efforts to improve the streets located throughout town, the Public Works Department proposed and the commissioners approved a reconstruction of the streets located around the hospital in November of '24. We bid those out this last week. We had some alternatives or additions to the plans. The city received only one bid from J. Graham Construction. With that, we also looked at the working of 24 hours. One person had requested that we had our open house to discuss it with them. We discussed that with the engineer, but with the additional cost, you know, the nighttime noise, the machines, the additional light all night long that would have to be there, didn't think it would be adequate for the neighborhood, people that lived there, so we decided against that, to go that direction. But the alternate that we had was to go concrete. Concrete would enable you to perform this in smaller sections than it would for asphalt. Asphalt companies, when they mobilization charges for each time they come in, they want to do more than just a half a block or one block. They want to do 2 or 3 blocks. So with concrete, it works better to go in smaller sections. Plus, you have a little better control over your gradation, your drainage, get things to work a little better. So that is our recommendation, is to approve it for the 1st and 2nd Street between Poplar and Buckeye, 3rd Street between Poplar and Wilkie, and also Wilkie Street between 1st and 4th, and in Poplar between 1st and 4th, which all these streets are just to the west and north of the hospital.
And those streets will all get new curbs and a concrete street.
That is correct.
What depth of concrete?
I believe it's 8 inches.
Okay, I think that's what it said.
Okay.
I was trying to throw you a softball, sorry. A little too much English.
And I want to say, I think having a public meeting like we did at the hospital received incredibly positive feedback. I think the citizens of that area that live there truly appreciated the ability to come talk to the engineers and us. That was wonderful, and I think everybody really appreciated that.
I hope we all remember that when we're in the middle
Yes.
of that construction project.
Well, exactly, but the fact that we offered that was a very
Yes.
good thing.
Yes.
And I think the majority of your residents there know it's going to be rough for a while. Because how long do we believe this to go on? Did I throw you under the bus?
It'll be months.
Oh, yes.
I don't recall the exact number of working days, but I'm guessing it's going to be 6 to 7 months. One advantage with going with concrete, if the weather is good, they
Yes.
can be working. Asphalt, you can't really do that. To lay asphalt, it's got to be, I believe, the state regulations are 45 degrees and rising to be able to put that down. So that counts out a few months in the wintertime, but as long as it's, you know, it's not too bad, not raining, they can still do concrete work. And the only bid we received from local contractors, so it's right here in their backyard, so it'll be easier for them to work during the wintertime, because this will go into winter.
Why do you think we only got one bid? That surprised me.
The main thing that I think we only got one bid is we were late to the game in getting everything out. Most contractors, several years ago, they were all bidding them in January, February, and March
Yeah.
for the work for that summer. The last 2 or 3 years, a lot of things have started bidding in October, November for next year. So right now, we're working on trying to put together things for 2026. So hopefully we'll have those done and we'll bid those out this fall with your guys' approval, so.
When is this supposed to start?
That is yet to be determined. I've talked to the contractor. I think they would like to get started sooner rather than later, you know, probably July. But they have yet to be awarded the contract just yet, so, and we need a whole lot of contracts and get some paperwork done, so that'll probably
Yeah.
take 30 to 45 days to get everything situated there, so.
Right. Okay.
And even though we had just one bid, that bid did come in several $100,000 lower than the engineer's estimates, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Nice.
Even with adding the concrete alternate on there, it is still below the engineer's estimate.
I'm good.
That's great. Okay.
Okay.
If there's no further questions, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-56 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-56 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution R-25-57, a resolution to approve a design contract with BG Consultants for the 2026 KDOT Cost Share Project. Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
This is not a new contract. This is in addition to an existing contract.
Okay.
I just want to make that clear. The city of Coffeyville was awarded a 2026 cost share grant mill and overlay on 8th Street from 166 East to Elm Street. On April 8th, the City Commission authorized awarding entering into an agreement with BG Consultants for not to exceed $90,000. And finalizing said agreement, decided that since engineering is not participating, we should include addressing the intersection of 8th and Central / Hickman. Central and Hickman kind of offset right there.
Yes.
I believe the city has purchased the property there years ago in preparation for making this change here on the truck route. And that's kind of what we would like to do, is include that. So it is increasing it by $7,500 to design that intersection and also the stormwater.
Okay. So what are you going to do there? Just kind of angle it over?
Somewhat like that. It's
Something like that.
You know, using the property that we have there on the north side of 8th Street. Hickman will continue more straight north and then veer over to the northwest and tie back into Central.
Okay.
Because that is a truck route.
Right.
That is correct.
That'll be a lot easier for trucks.
Yes.
Be good for 'em.
Okay. If there's no other comments, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-57 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve Resolution R-25-57 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution R-25-58, a resolution to approve change order number 1 with Jackson Civil for the wastewater treatment plant lagoon liner project. Executive Director of Public Works, Jim Wright, will make comments.
The lagoon liner is something that this contract was awarded to them back, I think it was mid-24. It was awarded to them knowing the southwest corner of the lagoon may have issues. Just recently, they got there, but they wouldn't know the extent of the issues, so they've got there, and the material that's in the bottom of the lagoon is inadequate to make proper compaction to put the liner in there. So that is what this change order is for, so we can get adequate compaction and dig out the material and put in new material.
All right, it's got to be done.
Yep.
I will move to approve Resolution R-25-58 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-58 as presented. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And now we have our city manager's report.
Thank you. Few updates, wanted to talk about our engines out there at New Generation that we've had so many problems with. We're not out of the woods yet. In the last 2 weeks, we got parts in, we went to test, and engine 8 failed. And so then that also delayed 10. So we got through that, we got those engines up and going, and they were at we'll call it a low I'm not even sure how to say that, but they were being used at a very small, low level. And as GRDA asked us to ramp those engines up, they failed. So now we have, Chris has requested that Wartzilla send their folks out. They have special software to go in and test and kind of harmonize those engines a little bit better. But so here we are, still out, several weeks behind what we anticipated. So that is engine 8 and 10. Engine 9 timeline on the parts, Chris?
Hoping to have the turbo cartridge back next week.
Yeah, so hopefully by next week, turbo cartridges are back for number 9, and we'll do that same process. We have to test them, then we have to get them online. We'll probably just use Wartzilla to come in and look at that one too when it gets time to go in. So not out of the woods yet. So this is a big ouch.
I wonder if we have an insurance policy. For loss of revenue.
Some thank yous to staff. We had our nice storm here 10 days ago or so. We had reported by about 5 o'clock about 440 outages, and within the 24 window we had that down to single digits. Our lineman crews, and they have not been fully staffed for quite some time, and so our team went out there. All folks at Electric went out there and just really put in a lot of effort, a lot of work to get our residents back up. And I can see why time and time again Coffeyville wins awards for reliability. Of course, there's lots of things out there that wants to kill that reliability. Trees, you've heard Chris talk about over and over again. That's a big thing. When we were talking about those outages, I think we had 5 poles get damaged, 1 got snapped and went out. So part of that we had to call in folks to, where's the gas lines, where are your different lines before you can start digging to put a new pole in. Most of those were tree branches hitting lines, trees hitting lines. But just a big thanks to that group, and thanks to their families. These folks were out all night and all morning, and then again for several days there. So we really appreciate what they did. At the same time, we had Memorial Day, and our parks crew had just had our cemeteries and our parks in general, even with all the rain we've had, really dialed in. I received numerous compliments, saw numerous compliments online about the condition of our cemeteries in preparation for that sacred day of Memorial Day. So we really want to shout out to them as well. Still continue to have lots of phone calls and talking to residents about animal control. We know that is a major concern, and we are working on that as fast as we can. That position is open. We still have a lot of adjustments to be made. Went out and talked to Danny with Friends of Coffeyville Friends of Animals, trying to find other solutions, do something differently. And I plan to go out and make a presentation to them, I believe on the 18th. To get some of their feedback on some ideas on things we can do differently, and hope that it all goes well there. We'll be back to the commission to present those ideas as well. Last thing, just wanted to one more time mention for those who are listening, I have seen some feedback and heard some feedback out there about what about all the other businesses in town when it comes to these grants. And so I do want to just remind people that this isn't just that selectively the city spending on money where I want or where you want. We have money that is set aside and designated for certain things, and this money that we are spending in downtown is a sales tax that was voted on by members of the public, and it's not the full sales tax, it's a portion of that sales tax. And so we're engaging that money. I would say that money has not really been engaged. Before there were some smaller grants, we weren't as active, and so we're definitely being more active because that money is there. It's supposed to be spent in the downtown. If you maybe looked around, you saw today we had to cut out several trees on 8th Street. Not very many trees left in downtown. Those trees, we invited K-State out. I think I may have mentioned this in our last meeting. So I identified those trees, and Parks went out and cut those down. And actually heard some positive things from businesses like, oh, thank goodness, we've been staring at a dead tree for a long time. So we're cleaning things up. The purchases we mentioned, you will see new benches, you'll see pots, you'll see maintenance on those pots throughout downtown. We continue, Parks has been so overburdened with the amount of grass and of course water, getting that to grow. There's been a few areas in downtown that we haven't been as on top of, identifying is that our property that we need to mow versus someone else, and so we're ironing those kinks out, but we are putting that effort into the downtown because of those sales tax dollars. So that's all I had. Are there any questions?
I have one question, keeps coming up every time I go into the Maple Street Meat Market to get something. John continuously is asking me when those dirt areas from the alley up to 8th Street will get filled in.
Yeah, I've got just as many people knocking me on the head for why do you keep filling in the dirt areas. And so we've got surveys out. We've got a lot of response. We're working on things in downtown. We're trying to, if that dirt area was not dirt and actually maybe grass and it's taken care of, they may have a different tune. And so we are trying to bring up our level of service to then hear what do we want or not want. If you've got a nasty dirt lot with trash and cigarette butts and dog poop in it, yeah, you want it gone. But we're trying to bring that level of care up, and so maybe we'll have different conversations. We didn't want to just go in and take it out just right yet. We're going to get our level of care up and how we believe the downtown should be taken care of. Essentially, it's an HOA, if you will, and we are the manager of that, those common areas. So that's the current plan right now. And I haven't stopped by to visit with him. I've stopped in one or two times, and he hasn't been there. If next time you speak to him, I'd love to speak to him in person on that particularly.
And again, if you would remind us who is in charge of code enforcement now? Thomas?
No. Code enforcement is still Matt Conger.
Still Matt, okay.
Yep. Building inspection, we've separated Matt from that. Before I got here, we'd hired Kyle Bell to come in and fill that building inspection side. So building inspection is working with community development and with our planning and zoning board, and Matt is focused on facilities and code enforcement. But I will say that Matt's been here, I think, maybe 6 years, and is just such a valuable resource. He has picked up and learned so much on code from building inspection, working with these other departments. He's a great asset, and a lot of people have his number, and he's not hanging up the phone if a building inspection call or something else comes in. He's actively working cohesively with the city to get those things done and direct things appropriately. And since you've actually brought that up, downstairs we had some glass windows, and for a long time it was called engineering, and we had employee down there. We have moved that employee up into the clerk's office, so you will see that we are creating customer service upstairs and having utility billing downstairs and starting to create that synergy and bring people up, and it also allows me to hear more of what's going on. So far we're really liking that change. People have to get used to coming upstairs when they were used to going downstairs, but that also allows us to between Melissa and the other two in their tag team on what's going on. And you're going to see that as we go forward as Melissa, she gets days off now and then, not as frequently as she should take, but people backing her up as well. And so you're seeing that synergy when we have those changes. So if people call you and say, what's going on, code enforcement, building inspection, when they come to the office to get the paperwork and start those calls or even to complain, they're coming up here to the clerk's office.
Anything?
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Ladies
I went
first.
fast.
Well, I want to say thank you because I had a really big tree fall in my yard. I was out of town and I'm heading back from Ohio, and I get a picture of this huge tree that's in the street. And it probably wasn't an hour after the storm that city crew was there with a backhoe moving it out of the street. Thank you. You know, I mean, we took care of it, but at least they were right there on the ball getting it out of the street because it was blocking traffic, and I really appreciate that. So, thank you.
I have just a few things to kind of tag team with what you said about the power outage, but also thank you for having the tree out open when those extra hours. I know people really appreciated it. Saw a lot of people out with their trailers hauling stuff off. And it's a nice service that we do to carry in on that. And the cemetery, again. Went out Friday morning before Memorial Day weekend, and I was out there early at 7 a.m. I think I already had told you, there were 6 out there mowing on the riding mowers and 3 weed eating, and they were just going to town. That looked excellent this year, so thank you again for doing that. It means a lot to all the citizens, and it's a respectful gesture for those out there. The communication director, Ashley, she's doing a great job. Thank you for all that she puts out to keep everybody informed, and I know you've got a lot more. The podcast was good, very informative, so thank you for that. And then our aquatic center, if we can ever get it open, if the weather will ever cooperate. I know, and thank you for putting out that it needs to be 72 degrees because that cold temperature does affect your body in a lot of different ways. I know they're fully staffed and ready to go, especially on guards. Just got 13 brand new ones, 4 recertified, and then I think there's 3 or 4 that are returning that were A-OK from last year. So I've been talking to them, and I know they're eager to work and get busy. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't know if it can or not because the temperature, sun wasn't out much today, so that water. But thanks. I know, but it gets down to, let's hope, maybe Saturday will be the day. So let's hope that comes. But I know they're ready to go. Looks good up there.
I have a few things. They should go pretty quick. Recycling program of any sort? Did we find out anything from the folks in Bartlesville?
No, we just continue to push and ask, and we'll call you back. This person, in fact, I was prepared for this because I thought, he's going to ask this one of these times. I should have just reached out to you, but I had a difficult time getting with Bartlesville wants to say, no, it's these other folks doing it. These other folks are saying, well, you really need to talk to the Bartlesville folks. Marty did have a connection. I hadn't followed up with him. He's on vacation right now to see if he was able to work through the person that he knows that works there, but
Have you tried calling the city manager down there?
I have not called the city manager.
I would suggest that.
I can do
He's
that.
got an open door. I believe I mentioned to you in an email, I had a couple of people ask me if the city allowed net fishing at LeClaire Park. And I have driven out there every day for the last week, and there are a lot of people that are taking nets out there. Every day I've been out there, I've seen people net fishing. I saw it earlier today. And I know that we pay money to stock that pond, but, and I'm not a big fisherman myself, but I can understand the concern of the people who use a rod and reel to go out there and, catch a few fish, and they see people with a net yanking them out, and hauling off copious amounts of fish. And I'm just curious if it's allowed, should we allow it? And
I have no idea. I
Okay.
saw that email and
I know
haven't been able to
it's
get to
the
it.
burning question in Coffeyville right now, but that may be something that our parks director looks into as he has an opportunity. I don't remember when we normally restock the fish, but I would hope that we could have some kind of resolution on this one or the other before then. I'd hate to pay money to have somebody come in and dump a bunch of fish in there.
Poor kids that can't hook a fish, they're just trying to get one. No.
I don't know, I mean, it seems like it's cheating to me, but what do I know? I don't catch my food, I buy it at the Mexican restaurant.
It's not about the catch, it's all about the story afterwards, right?
So I threw my net in the water. I was there for 10 minutes. Feaster Park Fountain, when are we anticipating that's going to be operational?
I think we're still looking at end of June, beginning of July. We are going to be putting on I don't know if this is the right word yet, I'm still working with staff on this, but a grand reopening. We're going to invite people out. We're talking to the museum out there, folks that have been taking care of it since, and we're trying to put a program together. We still have to put some plaster in the bottom and take care of it, and just the rain and the weather has been keeping us from finishing that.
Okay.
Very
And
cool. That's good.
And the fountain at Leclerc Park, where are we at getting that back to operational?
I do not have an update on that. I'm not sure.
The people who are net fishing are upset because without that fountain scaring all the fish to the edge of the water, they can't catch enough, you know. And the Martin Luther King signage that was on 11th Street,
Yeah.
we found out that KDOT removed that.
We don't know who removed that, but KDOT is making more signs and are going to deliver those to us to put them back in.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's all. Thank you.
Okay,
The pressing issues.
the pressing issues. All right, do I make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.